So tonight, this is Tchipakkan, and welcome to Otherworldly, the Changing Times, Changing Worlds uh, weekly show where we cover all kinds of fun things. Start out mostly as guests, people who were speaking at the conference, but sometimes we just talk about stuff. And tonight, just for fun, I am going to share with you my toy box because I have a fairly large toy box full of all kinds of things that, boy, I tell you, if I go to a psychic place, fair, and they see me coming, because I am a sucker for any new system of divination. To be entirely honest, probably the best way to be a good soothsayer is to have a system that you know well, and so that you can do it without even thinking about. The most important thing, of course, is having the right ethics and being open to hearing what's going on around you, and that's the beginning. But then there are toys, and the toys are fun. And but right here where I have underneath, right, I've got my little light that's over my keyboard. I have a dowsing pendulum, which I then use to answer questions if I have to, because it's always there, and because having a pendulum handy is just handy, but there's a whole lot more. Biggest toys. Let's start with the biggest first, because it's when I can have it set aside and it won't get in the way. Is, of course, the Ouija board, which I think goes back to when I was a teenager in high school, or maybe even younger. And of course, the planchette with the Milton Bradley label on it, and the box is dissolving after all these years. That is a good toy, as long as you remember that once you have turned on your energy sensing things, you can get in touch with actual beings elsewhere. Otherwise, it will be working with your subconscious. And one of the things I discovered as a teenager is either we subconsciously or the entities that you call with the Ouija board like to go into your subconscious. And if you say, who am I going to marry? Then they're going to pick the ugliest boy in class just to make you squeal. Because they're just being perverse and annoying, because they'll get a good reaction out of you. And we don't need that kind of foolishness. I have a wonderful little spirit board. Bigger is better. I want to make myself a tipping table. But this is fairly typical of the early ones when people made them themselves. And it gives you an alphabet, it gives you a yes, no, and it has a little tiny planchette that they made to go with it that's cute. And what does it say on it? I don't know. I dropped it. But the back, I was going to show you. I'm going to have to pick that up afterwards. The back has a piece of felt, so that as you slide it over, this is just a piece of plywood that they got. And they painted it, and it's beautiful, and it says yes and no. And what other things does it say? Hello, goodbye, and numbers and letters, which is fairly typical. So that if you want to communicate with somebody, the key to being a good medium is to make the right connection, get in touch with who you want to. It's like being a good phone operator. If you can, doesn't matter if you have a really good clear connection if it's not to the right person. So, but that's spirit boards. And there are so many other. Okay, here's another Victorian one. I copied this from a photograph of a Victorian fortune telling thing, and I made it. It's just a lovely piece of, I got one of these at an unfinished work store, and then I cut out a spinner, and it spins. I tipped it up a little bit so that you could, so that I could hit it when you want to spin it, and it spins beautifully, and it will go to. It's like, do not overestimate your strength. Think twice before you act. Be tactful and diplomatic. You are altogether too extravagant. You are easily angered. So this is pretty much copied from a Victorian piece, because the Victorians just had a lot of fun with that, and so do I. Oh yes, another. Gotta have your teacup. I have another one, and this one is decorated with samples of what the tea leaves might fall into, and has nothing inside, which is kind of nice. And yes, they do actually get that they look that much like something when you're looking in at when the tea leaves form things. You're like, does that really look like a man with a cane to you, hunched over? Yes, that's exactly what it looks like. You get a bunch of people looking, and they're, wow, that's a lot clearer than I expected. Then we get to the silly toys. We got to get, everybody knows the magic 8-ball, which when you turn it upside down, which I can't show it to the screen, but you all know what it looks like. There's a dodecahedron inside with writing on it, and it shows up in the little window. And so you can, and it has 1/3 ambiguous answers, 1/3 positive answers.
You're breaking up, Tchipakkan, and freezing.
I am?
Not to us.
Yeah, you were.
Okay. Thank you for the warning. And I have to...
You started breaking up in the when you had the teacup,
okay.
but before you got that.
Well, it could have been when I had it in front of my face. But then we have balls. We have lots of balls. That we got this one. It's got nothing but good stuff. We got this one, which is from Glee. I don't know if you remember, there used to be a song about a Glee Club. And this is the Glee ball, and if you turn it upside down, it's got a little,
I don't know. I don't care.
voice chip from some of the
Contrary to your beliefs, it's not all about you.
somewhere around. I don't have it.
You really are awesome.
I can't shake it. It will go. It has there's a Trump ball that has clips of Trump saying one assumes really awful things. Because I'm not sure he said anything else. I have a real crystal ball, which oh, there it goes. And I have, can we see this? Yes. Can you tell that this is a gold stone? Gold stone is
Yeah.
it's just gorgeous. And I am a sucker for goldstone. I first encountered it when I was about 8, and it is the oldest man-made stone. It doesn't have necessarily a magical presence. It's glass. It's blue glass with little flecks of gold in it. And I don't know if that would have any ability, but it looks like the starry sky, and it's very hard to get a piece that big, and I love it.
Tchipakkan?
Yeah.
I've always thought of goldstone as a meaning similar to the magician in tarot, where it's mastery of the elements, mastery of the world, since it's a man-made gemstone, and that's how I use it.
And since it's man-made, that's a good thing. And of course, when you're using crystals for healing, that's different than when you're using crystals for divination. And I've got that a little bit later.
There's also, in addition to the blue goldstone, it's also available in the original brown and green, which is a lot harder to find.
I'm going to argue it isn't found in green, and it's more frequently these days found in that orangey brown, but the original was blue. It was
really
by people who were doing miniature. They were doing cloisonné work in enamels on goblets and other liturgical plates. And some monks in the 12th century were trying to put to have figures with a starry background behind them. And it kept hardening up on them. The liquid glass would harden up on them. They'd have to chip it out. And then one of the monks who worked with jewelry said, gee, I wonder if we could cut this and polish it like stones. And it worked. So they sent some down to Rome, and the Pope said, we can make money on this. And so until the 17th, from the 12th century to the 17th century, the only place you could buy goldstone was from the Vatican. They had a monopoly on it. And then they found other glass workers figured out how to make it, and the Vatican lost its monopoly. But so that's why I am pretty sure that the first was the blue background one.
Interesting. Thank you.
And now we have, of course, when you talk divination, we have cards, and this is my deck of Halloween Lenormand cards, and so I had to have those out for this next month coming up. The key to any kind of divination is you have a set of symbols with which you are familiar enough that when they appear in a certain position, you are able to say, that's going to mean this. And here we have my Halloween tarot, which has images from lots of horror movies, like Shop of Horrors, and I'm actually not sure what that one is, but
it's McDonald's.
Glad too, Rada Nikto. But basically, it's a Halloween movie, Twisted Tales of Terror tarot deck. There is no end to the number of tarot deck. As I looked through my tarot decks, this is the one I took as a symbol before I found the Halloween ones, so I had to bring that out. The Housewife's Tarot, which is set up as a recipe card deck. And the little booklet has layouts that all of the images are of from 50s ads, and the layouts, if I can find one for you, like the martini. Let's see, do we have can I find the TV dinner? Yeah, but they're all the clothesline. And so it just basically says, with human ingenuity, you can, I should probably show you a couple of them because they are just adorable. There the Three of Swords, Wands. But they're all from advertisements from the 50s. And there's the Fool. Anyway, so but this is just one of the ones that I find really charming. And so if you want, this is the one I said I'm going to use as a symbol of, yeah, you can make a tarot deck on any theme. One of the things that I enjoy is, of course, tarot started with, before there was tarot, there were playing cards. And if you have playing cards, Jane has a wonderful system, that Swedish playing cards, that she, one of the things that she does with it is called a mat, because they are long and thin. This is a deck I found that is long and thin. It's got all kinds of, it's not tarot, and it has a bunch of different symbols in it, but you can weave it into a mat, which is there, because when it's
Wow.
you do that, you put it down, you deal them out, you have the person pick them, you put them in by putting one down and then one on either side of it, and you put the ones on the edge, and then you just flip it over with one fingernail, and if you're careful, and you get the big reveal, and then you can read it. But it's wonderful theater.
9s and above of a standard deck, but I have a very nice Swedish deck that I use.
Yes, she does. It's a gorgeous, but that little bit of theater is just, you get to make a big reveal, and that's something that's very cool. Remembering, of course, that you can use just playing cards, and there is, as I have looked for a long time for long thin decks, I have found there's something called a travel deck, which is about like that, so that you can play solitaire while you're out traveling, and that one will weave. But other things that I have, this is charms I got. I can't really see them there. Okay. Which symbols, of course, any charm you can use. Silver ones, which are best if you're sticking them in, say, a wedding cake or a fate cake. There, can we see those? Yes. And if you have charms, you can use them for, there's a butterfly. We know that butterflies are for immortality, and fleur de lis, which might be for royalty, a flower, cross, which depending on your associations might be a really good thing or a bad thing. A bird, anyway. But lots of little charms you can toss those, and they will, and read the symbolism of those. I have that one goes down there. Let us never forget rune sticks, but because more frequently than these days, people, ever since Ralph Bloom reintroduced runes to people using them, this is a set that I bought from, and I think, Apprentice of Arwen, and people tend to use little pieces like this. They're very good for if you're doing a 3-card draw or three rune draw. There is, if you're learning a new system, if you pick 1 or 3 a day and you just learn them, that makes it easier for you to integrate the symbols in, so until you're really confident you know that you have them. Where is my Egyptian? Here's, got these. I was doing that for about a year, And for a while, I really knew what all these Egyptian symbols meant. It's a very cool set. Can't remember when I got it. It was in the turn of the millennia, I think. It comes in a little blue bag, and they look like a scarab on one side, and the other side has a cartouche with a symbol of some Egyptian symbol or other on it. For instance, there's the ibis, which is for wisdom. And we have, what's this one? The rods and the staff, which are good for power, and here is the boat of Ra, which is for time. And somewhere in here, there's the Jed, which is the symbol for the spine or for strength. And so it doesn't matter really what the symbols are. It matters whether you know what they are, and then you can put them together. And so if you have runes, you can do that. If you want just fun. Oh yeah, speaking of fun, here's an oldie but goodie. Do you remember these? You put these on your hand, and it's a little, they call it a fortune-telling fish. And depending on how warm your hand is, well, can you see that it curls up? Yeah, depending, and okay, the head is flapping, and it rolled all the way up. And as you can see, we have instructions that tell you how to interpret. I used to get these, they were smaller though, in Cracker Jack boxes. And if the head moves, you're jealous. If the tail moves, you're indifferent. If the head and tail move, you're in love. If the sides curl, you're fickle. I saw somebody on YouTube talking about this, and what's fickle? Does that mean stubborn? And if it flips over, you are false. If it's motionless, you're dead. And if it curls up entirely, you're passionate, which kind of goes with the warmer your hand is, the more passion you have. But these are fun. They're right up there with fortune cookies, which I can't find around the house because, of course, we eat them. But here's a good one. This is a pen that when you click it, it turns around. And I don't know, is that backwards or is that forwards?
It's nuclear. Ask again. Unclear. It's unclear.
It's
ask
unclear.
again.
Okay, unclear. Ask again. So somebody ask a question, then I'll click it. Okay.
Dude, no way.
Dude, no way.
Okay, well, sorry about that, whoever asked that.
Yeah.
Reminds me of the 8-ball.
Yeah, it's right up there.
Let us not forget this one is from Kathy and Starwolf, I believe. The magical fortune-telling system of Taco Bell. Their little packets of hot sauce have fortunes on them, so that you can. It says, "Help! I can't tell where I am. It's dark and I hear laughing." Well, okay, that's more of a fortune cookie. Will you scratch my back? This space is for rent. Inquire within. And so, will you marry me? Well, good heavens. But that one, you can find soothsaying stuff anywhere you go. We have a game that we developed for Ren fairs. We took quotes from pirate movies, and we printed them out in a hand script, because you can pick a script when you're printing, on parchment colored paper, and rolled them up and tied them with a little ribbon and sell them for 25 cents. And it's a game because one in 20 of them has you can win a prize. So people are a lot more willing to give you their quarter if they think there's a chance you can get a prize. Well, Kathy came up with this brilliant idea, being at the same Ren Fair as we did. She said, you could use these for divination. So she said, well, there's a woman at work who's been giving me a very hard time. What do I do about her? And she pulled one out, and she got the quote from the first Pirates of the Caribbean movie. You're not a eunuch, are you? Which I thought was quite appropriate to what do I do about that bitch at work? Which, of course, Kathy would never say because she's too sweet. Anyway, at the end of the weekend, she said, I think I'm going to try it again. Here's my quarter. There are 200 different quotes that we put in there. And we had done 2 sets. And so the box would be, we have a little pirate chest that looks like a pirate treasure chest with a skull and crossbones on it. So there were, say, 195 and 195. And she reached in and she pulled another one, and she got the other, you're not a eunuch, are you? So the odds, I believe, are 195 times 195 to 1 to getting them both. So I think that was the right answer, which is don't put up with that BS. So I think. But yeah, you can use almost anything to tell fortunes. That actually is not far from, okay, somewhere around here. I've got a bibliomancy book. Now, bibliomancy goes back as far as ancient Rome, where they usually would put a stylus in the end of a scroll, and then usually Virgil, the Aeneid, and they would open it up and read where the stylus had been stuck. Do you see the book anywhere, John?
I wasn't keeping track.
No. Is that a book there on the bottom? Yeah. I have so many toys.
The moving book of answers by
Okay.
Carol Bolt.
Yes, this is a fortune telling trick that a game. Oops. That you can do the same thing. What you do is you either just open it randomly, or you stick your finger in and see where it goes. And this one happens to be a bunch of movie quotes. So ask a question. How's this show going tonight? And it says it's almost perfect from Double Indemnity. So I guess you're having fun. Somebody want to ask a question?
Okay. Is the Saturday trip to Salem going to go okay?
Let's see what it says.
Stay
Okay.
cool.
Stay cool from American Graffiti. And
Okay.
it's a lot of other real winners in here, like Frankly, My Dear, I Don't Give a Damn, or It Could Work from Young Frankenstein. Or To Sir With Love, Success or Failure Depends Entirely on You. You can see that they were picking a certain bunch of things. Oh, this is a loud but a fun one. China's fortune telling sticks. This is based on there's another variety that does that, and you shape them until one falls out. You can when they tend to see how they're when one really has volunteered, I am clearly the one that's sticking out the farthest, then you get to read it. And this one says, a relative will make you angry. And there's but this one is a lot of fun, but if you do it a lot, it's very loud and it can be irritating. When it comes to oracle decks, I have a fondness for the Mother Peace Tarot, which is well, it says round tarot, but I'm not entirely certain if it's tarot. I've never been able to read with this one.
I've got my copy locked up in the steel ammo can with the copy of the Book of Thoth.
Oh, really? Because it's so
Yeah.
valuable?
No, consider it. I wanted to keep it in something that it wouldn't get out and damage anybody.
Oh, it does?
I found it does not work particularly well for men.
Oh, well, maybe it just doesn't like you.
And locking it up with the Book of Thoth seemed rather appropriate. Let them chew on each other.
Okay.
I'll unseal it in another decade or so and see what's survived.
Let's see. I've also got, I knew I had this somewhere. Not sure where I had it, but I do have it. The Mo book which comes
I use
with
that.
cards and it's got a die. I got mine cheap because it lost its die, so I made a replacement die. I looked around today for my knuckle bones, which is a Greek system. Many knuckle bones were the earliest form of dice because you toss them and it can come up either S hook, a Z hook, a simple depression, or a bump, and that gives you 4 different things. Gee, speaking of giving you 4 options, another
That's interesting. My copy of the Mo book does not use cards. You need 2 dice.
Speaking of giving you 4 options randomly. Yay! But while once again we see the close connection between divination and gambling. Both involve you want one random symbol generator. Another random symbol that you can
Yes, the dreidel, a chance to gamble on really bad tasting candy.
or real pennies, you know.
Yeah.
Depends on how generous your parents are. There's a system I went to a workshop on at some pagan pride day or other. It's supposed to be Celtic, and the symbols are supposed to be Celtic. You put on hazelnuts or acorns. Acorns are a lot easier to find around here. And you put the symbols on them. And
Hazelnuts in the grocery store.
well, the hazelnuts, yes, that's where I got mine. But there we go. This is see, we got a fish and but this is basically they took a bunch of Celtic symbols and so you can I never got really good with those. Other systems that you can use include dice and dominoes, both of which are popular because you can assign meanings to certain combinations of the ones that show up, and people had them around anyway because they were playing with dice games. They were playing with playing dominoes as a game, and so they had them everywhere. So it makes any time you have cards or dice or dominoes or knuckle bones, what people using for gambling with, they would figure out a way to make it come up. Another thing that this time of year especially, it's really great time of year to go to the store and get some eye wash. So which that one has nothing to do with my games, but I do stick it in with my divination supplies. And I saw it and I said, what the heck, I'll show people my pretty things, which I like. Another thing I have is I have a I found a 15-minute
Timer.
timer. Yeah, it's a hourglass, but it's a 15-minute glass.
Okay.
And that is allow me to say to anybody who does readings out in public, it's a wonderful thing because the person who is, you introduce yourself, you say, yes, what we're going to do. And here's you get 15 minutes and you turn it over and they can watch the sand going down. And when it's down, and they know it's time for them to make way for the next person. And it looks cool on your table too, but it's a thing that I find it's a lovely piece of window dressing. The piece of window dressing that caused the most trouble was this sucker here.
Mhm.
I had that up
Table
there.
on fire?
Yep, I was doing a card reading and one of the cards just burst into flame. And he said, well, what does that mean? And I said, it means I put the ball in the wrong place. And patting it out. And so we can give a little bit of extra meaning to that particular card, but frankly, it just means that that the sun was coming through it and it hit the cards. So please don't take that as. Now they do say you should keep it wrapped up in silk. I don't know whether that's to keep it from
Getting scratched.
or it's whether it's from.
Well, silk is an insulator, so it may be a bit of both.
Yeah, it could be.
And I've heard the same thing about wrapping your tarot cards in silk.
Yeah, wrapping them in silk and
Yeah.
some traditions, your wand has to be wrapped in silk when you're not using it. So the distinct possibility, it's a combination of both keeping it from doing silly things and the fact that it is an insulator.
Yeah, and insulator is good. Now here we have a bunch of pendula because pendulums are good. And if you have to have a bunch of them, A, to scatter around the house so you always have one near you, and B, so that if you're teaching a class, you have enough to loan out.
So
But
is it
each of
pendulums
them,
or penduli?
I don't know.
Pendula.
I don't know. It's a pendulum, and yes, sit
Pendulum.
still. Please sit
The
still.
plural is pendula.
Sit still.
Okay.
It's not going to sit still. Okay, but I think this one is called an Osiris. You can see it looks like the Egyptian Djed tower. And each of them has a particular different bit of, it makes it easier to buy more of them. And I keep those around. Another thing I used to keep around, don't as much anymore, is note paper for people who are coming to get a reading to take notes on. Because here we go. Open it
Well,
up.
everybody has a recorder built into their phone.
Yes,
Yeah.
nowadays people just say, do you mind if I record? And I said, please do. Because I talk really fast and I try and get as much into the 15 minutes as I can. And it's a lot easier to go over it again and check. And besides which, you definitely want the, no, I didn't say that, or yes, I said that. Because
Deniability.
if they come back and say, but you said, it's like, no. What we want to say is essentially what most of the readings are is the power is in your hands, but you just keep, right now you're so depressed you don't realize it. We are the person who, when one door opens and when one door closes, another door opens, and you're just standing there looking at the closed door, we lead them away and take them to the open doors and show them there are alternatives. Ocean Oracle is a wonderful system that I have fallen in love with. It was developed by Shelley, who's been at Changing Times several times. Shelley Hansen, Michelle Hansen. She's moved to Florida, but she was a marine biologist who found herself between jobs, but she was talking about shells because, of course, she knew so much about them and how each of them, what they meant. And so she shows people these pictures of these shells, and depending on what you are drawn to, she can tell you what's going on in your life right now. And it really, it's amazing how well it works. It also comes with cards, so that you can that have key words on the back. So if you look through them, I find it a lot easier if you look through the big collections and say that one feels important to me. That one feels important to me. You get about 5 of those, and you read the key words on the back, and in the book, she's got whole paragraphs about telling you all about this strange thing. There is a type of mollusk that lives floating in bubbles. It never hits the shore, and it can't breathe underwater, but it lives in a bunch of bubbles it blows and floats on the surface. And so it's like castles in the air, only it's castles on the ocean. And if they burst, it will drown. And so if you pick that one, then, and you can't tell by just looking at the shell, but she can, because she immediately knows the whole thing. And so, say, for instance, this is a fossil cephalopod, which is you win after you have a long wait. This one, isn't that pretty? Is the Polynesian harp, and it has to do with skills and mastery of a craft. She just wrote about each shell, put together the pictures, and it has turned out to be an amazing divinatory tool practice. And many people, and you can just buy this and then use it. As with many others, where you are using the you're reading the what they tell it is. It's when you have the tarot, you lay the cards in the formation, and then your psychic abilities kick in. I am sure that your psychic abilities might kick in with this too, but you get the neat thing about a lot of forms of divination is that you get a good reading whether it kicks in or not, and that's a cool thing. The book quote, the movie quote, or whatever, it just will mean something to you. And so there's this. It has the 2 big posters and the book. It's in with all of my other divination toys, and I just love that one.
There's an Afro-Caribbean divination system that uses cowrie shells, the Table of Ife.
Oh, there are lots of systems that use cowrie shells. There's the knuckle bones. Did I mention the knuckle bones? Which I have.
Yes.
I've misplaced mine. But so I wanted to show you those, because anybody who slaughtered an animal and you're using every part, the pig, but the oink, if you have these knuckle bones, there you got them. I have in here some Chinese coins, which are suitable for generating the I Ching hexagrams. But there's also, where did it go? Lon Marlowe Duquette suggested you can make your own. The first time I heard of I Ching was on Dark Shadows, which is perhaps not the most erudite source of any kind of education.
But it was fun.
But I loved it. It was so lame and so wonderful.
And I am definitely a member of Team Barnabas.
Low unintentional camp.
Somewhere around here. Okay. I saw it earlier, and it's in this pile somewhere. Milo Duquette pointed out that you can take and cut off the square part of the disposable chopsticks, because they're square, they're bamboo, and you take the square part and then the tapering round part, and then you can just put the marks on with magic marker, and then you can make your I Ching trigrams that way. When I wanted to get
the right
into I Ching,
disposable chopstick.
yeah, my first thought when I heard of I Ching, I said, this is really cool, I'm gonna do this. And then I found out that you're supposed to get yarrow sticks and pass them from one hand to the other, and it takes about an hour. I got the yarrow sticks, and goodness, I got so bored so fast. It's something like geomancy, where you tap enough holes in the sand that you've lost track of how many, and then you count them, and then you get even and odd, and then you put together those now what is it, sets of 8. It's not
Octets.
and those mean different things.
Hexagrams.
It's a European
Octagram.
version of I Ching, I think. Add that.
I've found that has to be one of the most depressing, negative divination systems I've ever run into. It never gives you a good outcome.
Oh, really? Okay.
And
We
it's
had a-
interesting, on the Korean flag, there are the hexagrams, I think it's for earth, fire, water, and air. Either that or for north, south, east, and west.
Could well be. I have here a cute little coin, which, let's see, can we get that so that you can see there's one side, and then there is the other side, and so it says yes or no, because God forbid that if you just are flipping a coin, you might forget while it's in the air which one you said was going to the heads or tails was going to be your yes or your no. You have, oh yes, here's my various sacks of things.
A bucket
Oh,
of
yeah.
sacks.
Oh, wait a second. Here we
An actual cauldron.
I just
Yes, a
found
cauldron of sacks.
Yes. Wait a second. Yes. Well, because there's a whole lot of them. And this is here is the I Ching things. And as you see, they were made from the sticks, and then they make the trigrams. So there you go. So which you can then put them down. See, because I saw it on Dark Shadows, Count Patafi had sticks like this, and he put them down, and that sent people into the past, which was a lovely thing. And that's what we all wanted to go, where the characters on Dark Shadows went. But as Milo Duquette said, you can make them yourself and go easy, the easy way. So that goes back in this box. Oh, I've already spilled. I grabbed the Scarabs.
Got that one.
We already did that one. And I will say that in my personal experience, I always use rune sticks because to me, you get a much more nuanced reading out of using the sticks. It's not necessary if you're doing a draw of 3 or a draw of 1 rune, but if you're tossing them on the table and reading them, they fall into runes as well as having a rune on each one of them, and that makes it so much more nuanced, because it's that meaning made up of other meanings. Okay, here, what's this one? See, these bags, I don't know, I've got too many bags, I can no longer tell you what's in them. Oh, these are the dragon scales. Dragon scales are, I'm not sure, they may be bits of bark, they may be laminated pieces from a very big pine cone. but they have inscribed a symbol on each one.
Is it possible they
And-
were chunks of coconut shell?
Could be. I don't know. And they came with a very cute booklet where they had carefully burned the edges of all of them by Dante, it says, and it will tell you this if it's got the star, that's the Merlin, and it's for change or messages. If it's Excalibur, it's the sword is for strength, honor, and goodness. The Lady of the Lake, the sword coming out of water. Arthur is a crown, and so that is indeed the one that goes with these, with the symbols on them. So that is, get them in there without losing them, because as I said, I am a sucker. If there's a new form of divination, I want to try it. We have a here we have a bunch of rocks, which, as you can see, there's a lot of different crystals. And if you have studied crystals as Starwolf has, for healing and for their magical properties, then those magical properties, when you draw these, that meaning will immediately leap up to you. I have I have 3 decks actually of herb tarot cards, and only one of them does the what the herb is used for magically line up with what I believe is the meaning of the card. So some of them I like, and some of them I'm not as excited about. Okay, here's another set of this is lithomancy, where you toss the stones. Many of the varieties of lithomancy that you can learn, the easiest ones, and it's like, it's the symbol of white means this, red means that, green means that, and that makes it something that is a quick study. But I've seen people do really good readings with them. Here's one that I got. Stacy Lynn, she's a New Hampshire person. She did a workshop, and she gave everybody a bag of them and taught. I tried to get her to come to Changing Times, but she didn't go that far. So but it can throw you off if you know multiple meanings of different things. If the as I said, if the herbs don't match your view of the of what the herb means in tarot. Okay, here we have dice, astrological dice, with symbols of planets and symbols of astrological signs and symbols of and so that's a good one. I'll be teaching at Changing Times. I think I've called the class Roll for Initiative. I dropped another die. Yeah, put that over here. Try and find it afterwards. Which is using the standard set of game playing dice that to do divination with. Here, this is a fun one. Went to a workshop at Ethericon many years ago, and somebody taught a class on using, you know how runes were originally used for writing. Well, I don't know. No, it's not. This one I didn't glaze them, so you can't really see the light isn't hitting it right. But it's got, A, B, C, D. Now, Gretchen Schork has done the Abecedarian system. I am pretty darn sure that was not her class that I went to back then, because each of the she had whoever it was had it grouped in different things. For instance, the G was a Gurgies, and it sucked things in. It was like a spiral, and the I was a barrier. The I, A, E, I, and U were their own set, and the vowels had specific meanings, and it was cool. So I came home and made dice for them. Here we have dice with runes on them, which I find irritating as all get out, because you can only have one while you're rolling 3. You get one from each 8, and you don't and you can only get one from each 8. So that restricts the possibilities in a way that irritates me.
Okay.
I'm used to the freedom of a big pile of.
Tchipakkan, we are coming up on 9 o'clock.
I am coming up on 9 o'clock. Oh, okay. Well, let me see what else we've got that. Oh, okay. I cannot. We'll close. I guess I'll have to close up on this if I don't come up. This is called decision dice, and it comes with pieces that you put together to make a board, which you might be able to see is going to make a big 12 portion board. So you can toss that, but it comes with these 3 dice, and it's 1 black, 1 brown, and 1 tan. You roll them, and in the booklet, you then go to the one that's rolled, and it will tell you what that combination means. And they're very specific, like the I Ching. It said, okay, for this one, it says, at last you can stop thinking of others and think about what you want to change. This is good news. You worked long and hard and now deserve some time off. Things are shifting. Your time will be your own again, and the people that care for you will be happy to see this. Now you're given the opportunity to think about yourself. What will fire you up? What will get you going? If you allow yourself a moment or two to visualize what you would never dare dream about in public, you will be happier. Well, that's really specific. And I have had more good readings from this than any of the other bizarre little books that I have. I've been collecting toys. I love the toys. They are. Oh, here's one. Here's another deck. We got 2 minutes. This is the deck that is. It may have a unicorn on it, but see, it's a no unicorns. This is the no. We're not going to be. We're not pulling the punches. It's got both a front and a back, and as it says, stop trying to change people. That shit never works. Or detox, drink a smoothie, unfriend that asshole, and throw some shit out. The word needs your power. Use your voice, and just don't use it for dumb shit. This would not be good for anybody who can't deal with strong language, but wake up. You're missing some very cool shit. Stop sleeping so damn much. And okay, somebody tell me, just say who you are, and I'll pull one for you. Push the button for a reaction thing. Somebody put your hand up. Okay, this one's for you. It says, winning. You got a good thing going. Don't ruin that shit.
All right.
There you go.
Anybody else want one?
I'll take one.
Okay. And you get love. Get some, give some. It'll cheer your ass up.
Not going to argue that.
Okay.
You've got another hand up.
Okay. And the front says, "Get the fuck outside and move your ass. Your body is pissed at you." So this one pulls no punches, and I find it's called the Rebel deck. But yeah, you can always find a way of doing soothsaying, and I like the toys. It's 9 o'clock. Where is my really aggravating thing? Where did the beep beep thing go?
You're breaking up.
Yeah, because it's 9 o'clock and I'm supposed to stop. This is aggravating.
Whoever speaking is breaking up.
Okay, you see
I think
this?
that's you, Jane.
You close the
Jane was
circuit
saying.
and it starts going around. You have to ask a question. Right now we've got love up. So this is a love for me. Isn't that irritating? Ding. So it says, "Don't bother." So,
Okay.
yeah, but this is another really fun toy, which you can give it just as much as it's worth.
Hmm.
Anyway,
It's like the Zoltan games that you can buy.
the Zoltan game, they still have that out there? Probably
Yep.
on eBay, right?
I don't remember. Kathy has both a big one and a little one I found for her in Spencer Gifts.
Cool. Anyway,
Yep.
so that is me and my toy box, which I now have to get them. I have to find the things I dropped and then to put them away.
So they usually
Thank
have a
you
big
for
one for
coming
DVD.
tonight. And if you're watching this on YouTube, thank you for coming to our YouTube channel. Do come to the conference. Whether you're coming to the virtual or whether you come to the hotel, it'll be great. And that's November 3rd through the 5th. So that's it for Otherworldly. And if you have just discovered it, look through the backlog. Jane was talking about runes 2 weeks ago, and I was talking about palmistry. So the Otherworldly should be fun, and I believe that we can have fun and do good readings at the same time. So thank you all, and I'm ending the recording.